We send the message that safety on our campus is a shared responsibility. The turnout you see here in front of you is what we'll describe as a unified command. We'll talk a little bit about the incidents as they happened and as the facts as we know them, and then we'll talk a little bit about what we're doing both collectively and individually as agencies to aid in the apprehension of this suspect or suspects at this point in time as we know it. I'd like to introduce the people here. My name is Linda Stump. I'm the Chief of Police at the University of Florida. To my far left is TJ Watts. TJ is a special agent with FDLE. For his part, he's representing all that we're asking of them in regards to lab assistance, DNA, any kind of IT technology assistance, and other things involving our Northeast Fusion Center, intelligence gathering and information through FDLE. They're also assisting with us on the ground, all of our local agencies. To his right is Chief Ed Book of Santa Fe College. We realize in our world and in Alachua County it is all for one and one for all. They are our partner. They are our collegiate partner in higher ed. What happens sometimes on our campus and to our students happens to theirs as well, whether that's a psychological effect or effects on campus or activity on campus. So he can speak to anything in regards to his campus, and they are certainly our partner as well in this effort. To my immediate left is Vice President Dave Kratzert. Dave is the Vice President for Student Affairs, and he'll be speaking a little bit to some of the messaging that we sent out to our, not only our student body, but the parents and all of Gator Nation throughout the world, really, and what they can do to help us and join with us in this effort. David Clark. David Clark works with the Alachua County Sheriff's Office. He's representing Sheriff Sadie Darnell, who was unable to be here with us today, but is certainly an intimate partner in everything that we do here on campus and in Alachua County as far as this unified command effort. Ben Tobias, many of you know Ben, PIO with Gainesville Police Department, and he will be speaking about their efforts on their two cases. We'll talk about them in chronological order, and so he'll give some of the details of that, and we'll also go into some of the social media aspects and things that we've been dealing with as far as pushing out good information and squashing rumors that may adversely affect what we're trying to do to lead this investigation. Chief Tony Jones with the Gainesville Police Department. Our campus, for those of you that aren't here, are completely surrounded by their jurisdiction. The first two of these cases that we think may be related happened in the Gainesville Police Department jurisdiction, and Tony's here to talk with me about the efforts that our two departments have been doing and will continue to do to fight this situation until we make an apprehension of this person. And to my immediate far right is my deputy chief, who's in charge of operations. He's been heading up our operations, which includes the things that we're doing to step up our enforcement efforts on campus. Deputy Chief Darren Baxley is to the far right. So I appreciate everybody being here. You know, one of the things that I would be remiss if I didn't say is we have, a couple common denominators amongst these reported attacks, and that is that you have to say to the female victims in every one of these cases, there are four of them, they fought, they yelled, they defended themselves, and they did it very well. And by doing that, we think that they stopped their assaults. We think they stopped them very quickly, and for that we are grateful. We encourage everybody to look out for everybody else on our campus and around our campus with what's going on. So we'll talk about some of those things and some of the promotions that we've been doing, about partnering, the messaging that we've been sending, about things that campus students and faculty and staff and visitors can do to keep themselves safe on our campus as we move forward. So at this point, this situation started out actually during our first football game. If you remember right, it was a long rain delay. And the first incident actually took place while we were on rain delay in the swamp. Now, to us, that kind of set the tone immediately because we're already in unified command. We have almost every one of these players at our football stadium working unified command. We have several, a couple hundred officers at our football games working. So that was the stage for the first incident. I'm going to turn it over to the PIO from the Gainesville Police Department. He'll talk a little bit about the two details of those cases, and then we'll go into the other two, and then we'll go from there about what we're doing. Ben?
Thank you all so much for being here today. As Chief Stump said, I'm Officer Ben Tobias. That's T-O-B-I-A-S, and I'm the spokesman for the Gainesville Police Department. And I'm going to kind of go over the first two incidents which occurred in our jurisdiction to give you the nuts and bolts there. The first one occurred, as Chief Stump said, on August the 30th, about 9:30 in the evening. It occurred at 1824 Northwest 2nd Avenue. A 21-year-old white female victim was approached from behind by a suspect. She was punched in the head, and she was brought to the ground near some hedges near an apartment complex there. The suspect actually ripped at her clothing, managed to rip her underwear off, and by that time a nearby homeowner heard the commotion and came out of his home, very brave, came out of his home and approached them on the ground, which caused the suspect to flee. The suspect was reportedly wearing a blue gator shirt in that incident. The second incident was around that same time frame, but it was just after midnight. It occurred on August 31st, just before 1 in the morning. This one reportedly occurred at 500 Southwest 13th Street. That's near Inner Road at campus. Southwest 13th Street is an east-west divider of campus to the rest of the city. In this incident, a 20-year-old white female victim was walking south alone on Southwest 13th Street near 5th Avenue. She was approached from the rear from the same, we believe to be the same suspect in the same manner. She was struck in the head and then pulled into some nearby bushes, and the suspect attempted to pull her clothes off, but he did not. We had 3 bystanders who heard the commotion, again, very brave, heard the commotion, ran to the female and to the male that were on the ground, which caused the male suspect to run away. That's a summary of the 2 incidents that we have had. The common denominator, like Chief Stump said, there has been some sort of intervention, either by the victim themselves by yelling and fighting back, and some sort of intervention by a bystander, which has caused this attack to cease. A very important thing, there has been some misinformation, I won't say misinformation, but trying to bring another event into play here, which was not necessarily in play. I think it was last Wednesday evening, we did have a report of a sexual battery on the northeast side of town, 3500 Northeast 15th Street. That was in no way related to this case. We have some information that we're working on that case. It was a black male suspect, nowhere close to the description of the other one, and it was just an unfortunate circumstance that it happened so close to each other because it's kind of gotten lumped in to these incidents. That one was in no way related, and we are working as close as we can to the University of Florida Police Department to solve these. The other thing with our 2 cases, and you'll hear with the rest of the cases, none of these women have been sexually assaulted. There have been attempts, we believe, to get to that point, but by some sort of intervention, none of these victims has been sexually assaulted. And I'm going to turn it back over to the University Police Department for the rest of their incidents.
Do you want to talk about your film on the suspect or person of interest?
Sure. We do, and we have some video and photos out on our Facebook site. It's facebook.com/Gainesville Police, where you can find us at Gainesville PD on Twitter. We have some short video clips and a few stills of a person that we believe to have some knowledge of this case. We can't say for certain if this person is a suspect because we have not seen him in the act and no one can identify him. Speaking of identification, none of the witnesses or victims thus far have been able to get a good enough look at this suspect or this person to complete a composite drawing. And I don't think, based on any of the information that we have, that a composite sketch is going to come out as a result of these incidents.
So for those of you that picked up an information sheet, it looks like this. This is our brief synopsis. We made it for you, basically to do a quick comparison and contrast with the information that we have. As Ben mentioned, these women are being grabbed from behind. So it is expected that, they are not, as they're being grabbed and thrown to the ground, sometimes in very dark situations, for them, for us to expect to get the exact same description of a potential perpetrator is just not likely. So we are going with the fact that we think we have repetitive behavior here. We think we have a suspect that we need to identify, and we're going to talk a little bit about the things that we're going to try to do to push out some more activity on campus to see what we can do to help that situation. Briefly, also for your information, this is a document that's put out by our police department. We're used to speaking in numbers. The number 29 at the top, it says 29 assaults. That's no way a numerical number. That's just our reference. It's our reference number. 29 is an assault. So it has no. It's for our reference, not 29 assaults. Our case reports took place. The first one was on 9/5 at 3:04 a.m. Victim again was a white female, 24. She described a white male perpetrator, 24 to under 30 years of age, 6'2", around 240 pounds, wearing dark-colored black scuff, unshaven facial hair. Orange button-down shirt, blue shorts, might have been wearing dark shoes. She was walking from the Midtown area. Suspect punched in the face. Suspect fled east down the sidewalk towards the Rights Union. Our last case was obviously last night about 8:42. Occurred on the sidewalk area between McCarty B and C. It involved the victim was a white female, age 20. Again, described the perpetrator as a white male, 6 foot, slender build, 200 pounds, dark hair, and not much facial hair is how it was described. Orange T-shirt, gator shirt, black gym shorts, dark tennis shoes, dark-colored ball cap. I believe in the video that Ben was referring to the suspect in that case, or that person that we're trying to identify, was also wearing a ball cap. The victim in this case was leaving the Marston Science Library, walking on the sidewalk between McCarty B and A. She was grabbed from behind by the hair and around the neck. She kicked the subject once they got to the ground, wrestled a little bit, and then he fled on foot towards the Rights Union and on the sidewalk. So with that, Tony, would you like to come up and we can talk? Some of the things that we're doing as an agency. We have a ridership program called SNAP, which is run by student government. The vans, we're doubling our capacity to do that. That runs over the nighttime hours, and we're doubling our capacity. That's an on-campus escort service. We have also pledged, and we did last night when we brought up our Emergency Operations Center, that if the operations of SNAP, which is our on-ride or our ride-along escort service on campus, if the time of operation, if the wait time got too long, then we felt we had enough cars with the police that were on scene, and at one estimate, I think we had about 60 police officers on our campus last night in a very short period of time responding to the assault that occurred last night. But we pledge to, not have somebody walk alone, pick them up if we have to in a police car and do a police escort if we need to, if we don't have the civilian means to carry out those escorts. We're moving a lot of our staff to night shift, so a lot of our proactive things that we pride ourselves on here at the University of Florida, a lot of those educational things, the training component, our traffic unit, all those things, we're moving those bodies to nights because we need the bodies out on the street. This is a very large campus. This is 2,000 acres, and we have limited resources on a large period of time. These situations that are occurring are happening in seconds, and the perpetrator is fleeing, and they can blend, or they can go into a building, or go, maybe home in very quick, short order. So very short period of time. So this is why one of the reasons why we're here asking for everyone to participate with looking out for each other. Again, shared responsibility.